So it's Sunday morning here on the farm, and the excavator that should have been here this morning to expand our pond was delayed again today. He was also delayed yesterday and the day before that, and I'm pretty sure the day before that. So what this has reminded me of is that the expectations that you set for any given event are almost directly correlated to your reaction to said event, right? We're still way ahead of schedule from the original timeline on when the excavator was going to be here, but I thought he was going to be here a couple days ago, and I'm antsy and I want to get this going. But in an effort to roll with the punches, I am just going to sit back and whatever happens, happens. Sure. Right. Okay. So at long last, it is excavator day. He is here, and now we're trying to figure out how to get him into the property without destroying any more than he actually has to. All right, so the excavator is still idling in the driveway. Digger is here, operator is here, we're ready to go, except we are waiting on a dump truck, because one of the questions that I asked very early on when we booked this excavator was, is there going to be a dump truck? Because you don't want an excavator scooping dirt and then driving across the field, dumping it, and driving back. Like, it's just not efficient, right? You got to fill the truck, then the truck can go dump the dirt and come back. And I'm not sure how that got lost in translation or whatever happened, but there was no truck until the excavator operator got here today and says, hey, I think we need a truck. So apparently they have found a dump truck in town. They are now just trying to find a driver for said truck. So we're at a standstill here, waiting for that to happen. So I have resigned myself to this reclining chair in the shade where I will watch how all of this unfolds. And I have determined not to stress out over this at all. Whatever happens, happens. God help me. So we got my wife walking around on the phone. Contractor for the excavator milling around waiting for a dump truck solution. Meanwhile, we've got the land office guys just rolled in, and these guys are here to combine all of the different subdivision lots. I don't know if you remember any of that, but here to combine all the subdivision lots into one lot. I guess this has been planned for a month or so in advance, and today's the day. So Pinky's a little stressed, and actually does my heart good to see her having to juggle multiple contractors, multiple catastrophes at once, because this has been primarily my role for the past 20 years. And not to say that she hasn't done anything or contributed, she definitely has, but I'm going to reclaim my recliner here, and I will watch her stress out juggling all these different people. She can do it. Yeah, she's got this. All right, got the excavator in action, dump truck and driver on site. Pump rig back from the cousin's house to pump the water out of this pond, which honestly we should have started doing again a couple days ago, but we'll get it caught up. And here we go, ripping and tearing. So apparently people have noticed that we have an excavator in the yard, which I guess they presume is a job site. So you have random vendors selling some sort of, I don't know what that is, food or something. Just stroll onto the property and start selling their wares as if it's a public park or something. No, it's my front yard. No idea who that is. One of the jobs I was trusted with was keeping track of the dump truck loads. Every time they filled, I had to rip off a ticket and put it in a bucket to keep the guys honest. They were tracking, I was tracking, and then at the end we'd tally them up, make sure everybody was on the same page. Yep.
No, I know, but it's tie them, not unloose. I want to unloose it.
You want to unloose it?
Yeah. How? How I do that?
The thumb switch.
This?
Push all the way over. No, the thumb.
Oh, this?
Yep. Yep.
This one?
Now it's going in a different direction. The dad and the girls over here disassembling the cow pen. I helped a little bit, but I showed up fashionably late. Unintentionally this time. I would have helped had I known. Had a four-walled bamboo cow pen. And apparently what's happening here is our surplus dirt coming out of the pond. Some of that's going to cousins and other family members. So take down some fences and rearrange some stuff in order for the dump truck to make its way across this field and into the neighbors' properties. So we are deep into day 2 of Project Pond expansion here, and not that we had a real dialed in plan when we started this, which may be the root of the issue. I mean, we had kind of a boundary as to where we thought the edge of the new edge of the pond should be. And I thought we were going to a depth of like 3 or 4 meters, which is what the existing depth of the pond was. We'd agreed to scoop out some of the muck, but pretty much the depth was going to remain unchanged. I'm not sure what happened, but at some point today, the depth has now increased from 3 meters to, I don't know what it is now. It's got to be 7 or 8 meters. This thing is deep. I'm still unclear if there was a conversation with Pinky and she okayed it, or the contractors are just going absolutely haywire because nobody up here is stopping them. We're paying per load, so they are just going to town. And honestly, I don't know enough about this kind of stuff to step in and say, hey guys, this is insane. There's no way we are ever going to collect enough water to even come close to filling this thing. Or if it's fine, maybe we will fill it and we'll have a giant lake in the front yard, which will be awesome. I want to say something, but I find that when I want to speak up just to be different, I tend to get myself in trouble. So I'm going with it. So here is where all that pond dirt is going. We are raising the level of this part of the field. See, the pond's over here, dirt's going over here, 1 dump truck load at a time, and raising up the level of this part of the field, which I think gets wet or pretty wet during rainy season. I haven't been here for a full season yet, so I don't know, but it is certainly not going to be wet now. So this is pretty cool. I don't know what we're going to do here aside from the original plan was to like put a chicken coop here, which I think we'll still do, but now we've got all kinds of extra room to do whatever. I don't know, plant some trees or I don't know. But definitely cool to have 2 cousins who live right next door, each with their own tractor, and a willingness to come over and help with those tractors anytime we need them. All right, little strategy session this morning with the family, and after much deliberation, we have decided not to simply dig an 18-foot pit, which is essentially what this thing would be if we cleared out all of it. In addition to having irrigation, I want to be able to raise fish and attract birds and maybe some turtles if we can get them to stick around long enough. And I think just having one giant crater full of water is not the best way to do that. I think having varied terrain, varied depths is going to help us attract those animals. And maybe if we want to plant some lilies and other aquatic plants, we're going to need the variation in depth. Part of the problem is we don't know how deep this thing is ever going to get. So I don't know if in best case scenario, we're only going to get this thing half full, or if it's going to get all the way full. And if so, how do we deal with the different terrain? So I don't know if we're making the right call or not, but we're going to leave it pretty much as is. We're going to neaten it up and maybe put some shelves and do a couple other kind of landscaping things within this. But in the meantime, we have decided to dig a second pond, primarily because we just think it'd be cool to have a second pond, and we got the space for it down in the back corner of the field. And then also we had kind of promised out some of this dirt to surrounding family members, and they've taken down fences and knocked out brick walls in order to make room for the dump truck to make his way over to their land. And if we don't dig out any more dirt, we don't have any more to share. We're also running 2 dump trucks today, which has doubled production. Our chief engineer and surveyor today got a great education in what happens with a tape measure when you yank it out past its stop point. And I got a gentle reminder to never loan out your tools. Okay, we got stuff happening all over the place. The guy in the excavator is making huge progress on the new pond out there. This pond still sits where it is, but we've got dump trucks, 2 of them running, tractors zipping all over the place, people running around. Everybody seems like they're in an upbeat, happy mood. And these are the kind of days here that I absolutely love because there's a lot of stuff happening. This is our neighbor and Pinky's uncle's property, and there's 2 or 3, maybe even 4 other properties that I noticed through town that are getting this dirt delivered to them, which is super cool because like not only do we have some fun projects going on, but so does other members of the family. We all have those kind of projects that for one reason or another, there's one element of it that like, hey, I'll get to it when I get to it or when the opportunity arises. And I think a lot of these guys had some stuff that they wanted to get done, but just, you know, hadn't been motivated to go out and get the dirt to make it happen. And now this popped up. We got dirt for them close by. It's cheap. And they're getting this stuff done. I think there's some other projects that were maybe inspired, like, hey, there's dirt available, what can I do with it? And we've got different lots around town being filled and different projects being either started or completed, which is super cool. So everybody's just kind of jazzed up, which is crazy that everybody's that excited over dirt, but that's what's happening. So yeah, fun day here so far today. But freaking hot, my God, hot. Beautiful, but hot. All right, so I'm down here at pond number 2, which has just been finished. And man, this is a pretty cool setup. It looks a lot bigger now that it's done than when I first saw them digging. I thought it was gonna be a lot smaller, but very cool, a couple different layers. And this pond is down at the property line on the kind of the downward slope of our property. So this one, I'm hoping during rainy season will fill pretty easily on its own. Obviously, water runs downhill. So this one should be pretty much self-sustaining during rainy season as opposed to the primary pond up there, which is on the uphill side of the property. We're gonna have to be much more intentional about feeding that one and filling that one manually through the well, and then some improved sort of rain catchment system thing that I'm working on for the gutters and try to divert some of the rainwater from the house into the pond. So the good thing about this is we plan to plant coconuts and bananas, I think, around the perimeter, and then this pond can be used to water this kind of bamboo forest here, which has been neglected. Some sort of special bamboo, I forget what it is, but obviously bamboo requires a lot of water. It's currently not getting it. And now instead of having to pump water from the faraway pond uphill down to the bamboo, we'll be able to access it from here, hopefully. At least that's the plan. So yeah, cool stuff. As fun as this day has been, there is one tragedy here, actually 3 tragedies. And out in the middle of this dry field, where I never would have guessed, the ants are now taking over, but there are, unfortunately, 3 little snail-eating turtle eggs, almost fully developed turtles, almost hatchlings. And I think yesterday or the day before, when the guys were out here in the tractor smoothing out the field, they plowed them up, and there were 3 eggs. I don't know where the 3rd one is now. And my fear is there's probably more that are trapped down in there and are probably, you know, if the ants haven't gotten them already, scraping the earth back away from their nest. That has increased the temperature of that spot considerably. And here's the 3rd one. Yeah, poor little guy. And cooked the eggs that were in there. So really bummed, man. Like there's no end to the indications of just humans destroying stuff all the time, and I'm as guilty as anybody else. And to see stuff like that really, really bums me out. All I can hope is that our new pond here is an inviting environment, which will lead to more turtle breeding activity and produce a lot more eggs and a lot more hatchlings than the 3 that were crushed here today. So yeah, that's the way it goes. Something I'm finding customary here is not only do you negotiate a price for the job with the workers, it almost always includes, either spoken or unspoken, the fact that you supply food for them. So every contractor we've had, starting with the well guys, we've had to feed, which is fine. I think it's just kind of funny that that's always part of the deal. Lunch is served, and then customary cold ones when the day is done, which I think is more of a universal language.
See?
Yep, well done. Another method that I doubted and just proves I have no idea what the hell I'm even talking about.
Sometimes you have to let them do it because they know what to do.
Pretty much all the time I have to let them. When we only have to pick up small items, we'll take the truck. But for the real heavy lifting and the big items, we got to bring in the scoopy. These things were designed for industrial use. So we were not the only ones to get a new pond this week. Betty and Barney also have a new pond. And this is Betty's first time checking it out down here for a drink. Kiki's brother spent 2 or 3 days working on this concrete pond. Will drain over there, so I pull the plug, the water comes right out. Pretty slick. This replaces the current routine of having to soak all the tortoises every day or every other day in individual black tubs, which isn't that much of an inconvenience, but this is certainly way easier and way better. Because number one, it's less work for me, and then number two, the tortoises can soak and drink and do that type of stuff on their schedule, not when I force them to. So pretty stoked to have this. She's gingerly checking it out. Barney has not quite figured out it's even in here yet. Okay, so the excavation of primary pond number 1 here is complete. Excavator just packed up and left, and honestly, I don't know if we are gonna end up eventually with one giant pond with all kinds of awesome topography, or if we are gonna have 2 very deep, kind of weird ponds located down in a crater. I don't know how much water this thing is gonna take, but we are pretty psyched to have it because no matter how it plays out, it's gonna be way better than what we had. And we, in addition, have this nice new elevated pad here, which, as I had previously mentioned, was going to be used for a chicken coop, but now I think we may save it and maybe just plant some grass or some sort of trees or plants there, crops, whatever, and save this for a potential future house pad if we decide we ever want to upgrade the house. Nothing that we're even committed to doing or are certain we're going to do, but I think for now, we've been kicking that idea around. There's some other kind of details in the background that may drive us to want to build a house here on this spot. So yeah, super cool. So all in with the additional pond down back and the primary pond here and this pad, we're in it for just under 50,000 baht total, which is about 1,500 US. I don't really know how that compares to pricing around here, but I know it absolutely smokes anything that you'd pay in the US. So it was 136 loads of dirt that were hauled out of the primary pond at 310 baht per load, which is how we agreed to pay. Yeah, so that comes to 42,000 baht. We gave the guy 45,000 baht because he did spend a lot of time in here just moving dirt around, which I know he wasn't getting paid for, and super nice guy. So 45,000 baht for him. I know he also pulled 56 loads of dirt out of the back pond there, which he then sold off to other people in the village. And I don't know what he sold that for, 350 or 400 baht. So he made some money there. It didn't cost us anything. And then we'll throw the guys who ran the tractors here and are finishing up grading this out, probably a couple thousand baht. So let's just say 50,000 baht all in, and got a couple of really nice ponds and a huge elevated potential building pad.